The quest to identify the people who robbed the bank in Katy, Texas, the robbers with a family resemblance, sparks curiosity even among the most seasoned detectives.
Our only thought was, we got to find out what this story is.
It'll eventually lead from the Lone Star State all the way to the Pacific Northwest and back in time to when a man named Scott Catt met Beth Worrell.
Scott and Beth grew up 40 miles south of Portland in a picturesque town called McMinnville. Beth was a champion swimmer. Scott played on the football team.
She came home and told us that she'd met this wonderful, blonde, handsome cowboy.
Beth was, very, very loving. Good mommy, terrific mother.
She kept him sane. She knew how to bring him back from some of his crazy times.
They lived in a nice house with 4 bedrooms. They had 2 beautiful children. Life was good.
And then she got sick.
She went for a regular mammogram, and she called me and said they want to do some more tests.
I remember going from crying to laughing to crying to talking about going wig shopping to it's all going to be okay. You have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I think we were really positive that it was going to be just a bump in the road, and that wasn't the case.
She didn't live long after that. It just went rampant through her.
Do you have any memories from your mother?
Just one, when she was sick. I just remember her being carried down on a stretcher, bright orange. It was the brightest orange I've ever seen in my life. That's it, just that one memory. That's all I remember.
Doesn't sound like so much fun.
No, but I still have that image of her in my head. I can still see her. Even if she was on a stretcher, I could still see her face, which is cool.
In the years after Beth died, Scott goes to pieces. He begins drinking, he's doing drugs, he falls into a depression.
He does let alcohol get a hold of him. He turns to cocaine. He begins to slide and lose his footing.
But somehow, despite his life falling apart, he manages to hide it all from the kids.
To his credit, Scott picks up where Beth left off. He's playing the role of mother and father and doing a very fine job of it.
My dad was right there for everything. It was always just us 3.
He cooked for them, he cooked lavish meals for them. He was the president of their swim club.
We go before school, we go after school, swim meets on the weekends. I mean, it consumed our life, but we loved it. We were part of a team. It was our swim family, and my brother was always there, and he was my favorite person in the world, and he still is.
We were very close. My sister is the only consistent thing I've had my whole life, and I'm the only consistent thing that she's had too. I can just look at her and know what's on her mind, what she's worried about.
Despite the fact that outwardly it seems like a solid Catt family foundation, the fact is there were cracks.
His persona outside the house was Dad of the Year, Volunteer of the Year. He said all the right things, he did all the right things, he took his kids to church, and then once he was home and he was alone, I think the real Scott came out.
There wasn't really a disciplinarian. I mean, there was no one there hounding us to do homework or keep up our grades.
Did you guys start drinking in the house?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How old were you when that started?
High school.
And then he told me he got his dream job in Texas.
A Texas recruiter calls him and says there's an engineering job with a Houston area oil company.
So many bad memories here, he wanted to get away from it. It would be a fresh start for everybody.
And no matter how good Scott's jobs are, it always feels like the family is just a little bit short of money. And so Scott goes to his son Hayden with this insanely outlandish idea. Hey, we're gonna rob banks together.
He says, I made a decision that this is what I want to do. I want to rob banks for a living.
When he approached me and said, would you be willing to do something to get some money more illegal than selling drugs? And I said, yes.
Your father says, I have a plan to rob a bank. Shouldn't your first reaction be, are you crazy?
Looking back on it, I can't believe that wasn't my first reaction.
Why did you go along with it so easily?
I had a real struggle, and a real internal struggle. I knew it was wrong, but I was really motivated by the money.
Now, it's bad enough that Scott asks his own son, Hayden, to commit this felony with him, but then he ups the ante.
He used Hayden to convince Abby to going along with the plan to rob banks.
How did you react?
Well, the way that he presented it to me was like, we need you in order to be successful. And then it was just like, okay, you know.
Like, why did they need you?
Well, so that they didn't have to drive.
Did you have any hesitation about this?
Really, there was no question. I was gonna do it. There was no questions. I had no questions. They told me they needed me, so I did it.
And the way Scott explained it to me was that he didn't see this as a chance to teach his kids about crime. It was a chance to teach his kids about self-esteem.
And this is how the Catt family decides to start robbing banks together. Hayden and Scott, they're going to be the stick-up men inside the bank. Abby is going to be the getaway driver. Simple plan. What could possibly go wrong, right?
The morning of the first bank, I asked my dad, you know, are you the devil here to tempt me? And his answer is what really scared me.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.